this lady, the discipline of this woman, one, to not notice sweat beads going into your eye. Two, to not rub your eye for 12 hours or however long they were in there. Like, unbelievable.
Hello and welcome back to the Tether Radio Podcast, the only podcast keeping you from spiraling out into the infinite abyss. My name is Daniel, and I will be your host. I am joined today by Matt Redden again, who actually was on episode 43, if you caught that last week. And I'm also joined by my beautiful wife, Megan, who will also be kind of helping lead an article or two. Do you guys want to say hello? Megan, you want to say hello first?
Howdy ho!
So she's gonna be joining us for that. And Matt, what's up, dude?
Hey man, how's it going?
You know what? Better than I deserve. Period. But I've just been doing too much gaming lately. I've been playing the latest and greatest that the PlayStation Plus, my PlayStation Plus account allows me to get for free, which is Conan Exiles. Now I am kind of disappointed in the game just because when I saw that it was released on PC, they were supposed to they were touting dick physics. So
yeah.
And the PS4 version is 100% edited. So
oh, that's
I was
shame.
like, dude,
I was just assuming you'd be like Dead or Alive boob physics where the dick's just flopping in the wind everywhere.
Yeah. Well, no, dude, that was the thing is I was like, I'm just going to have like super beefy armor on my top and like really nice like boots and gauntlets and shit. But then I'm just going to like let my schlong go in the wind, man. It's not worth the armor bonus.
Maybe you can use it as a sidearm, right?
Yeah, right. But anyway, man, how'd your week go?
It went well. Everything's been going good down here in Arkansas. Not too much going on. Just playing games as well.
Yeah.
Deep in it with Apex, so that's my current vice.
Dude, I still haven't even checked that out.
It's a lot of fun.
I need to, for sure. Because it doesn't last that long either.
And some new skins. So yeah, games probably run like anywhere from like 16 to 25 minutes or so.
Yeah, I think that's kind of my biggest or the parameter that I have to watch because having a little kiddo at home, it's like at any moment he could throw himself off something and I just need to dip kind of thing. So
no, I understand. We've got a friend that plays.
Yeah.
We hear daughter crying in the background sometimes. We'll be like, oh, gotta go. I'll be right back.
Yeah, exactly. Miri, and by the way, I will 100% be calling Megan Miri because that is her Korean name, and I don't know. I've just started doing it. Well, I didn't just start doing it, but Miri.
You've been doing that for like a few years now.
Yeah. Well, how'd your week go?
My week went pretty well. It's pretty crazy at work.
Yeah.
So I'm glad a new week is starting.
Yeah, glad to have that one behind us.
I did take Finn I took Finn to see the Easter Bunny.
Yeah.
He loved that thing.
Yeah.
Which most kids are like afraid of the Easter Bunny. But he was like
that's
following him around and just like trying to tug at his jacket.
Yeah. Megan had some pretty awesome videos that she came home with. So
the girls I went with, they have two girls and they were just screaming their heads and like clutching at their moms.
Yeah.
And then Finn's just like, "Hi, I love this."
Maybe he's just so used to having somebody that's just so hairy and furry around with Dan at the house.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you specified me. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, we'll rock and roll, man. We'll go ahead and get the episode kicked off right because speaking of a mother bonding with her son,
Yeah.
so I pulled this one from a local whatever, ABC affiliate, or I guess that's NBC. Yeah, I think. Fuck it, whatever. Anyway, an affiliate from Wisconsin. So buckle up, guys, because we're starting off real fucking crazy. So the police were called to a Walmart in Wisconsin because of a reported theft in progress. When they showed up, there was this lady, Lisa Smith, who basically just seemed kind of off her rocker. She was screaming in the entryway and trying to catch her dog Bo, who was running not on a leash, I guess, around. And apparently her son, Benny Van, who was a 25-year-old, was also in the store causing problems. So the officers basically found out that Smith had let her dog into the store unleashed. So Bo was running around to customers and just like harassing customers. So while her dog was doing this shit, she gets a shopping cart and starts taking store displays apart and putting them in the shopping cart. Well, obviously, that makes no fucking sense. So she was asked to leave, and she left the store to go outside in the parking lot and apparently practice karate moves. So, okay, stop right there. What the fuck? Like, this is like, if any of our listeners have never heard of the website People of Walmart, I think it still exists. And I swear to God, dude, if Lisa Smith does not make an appearance on that website very shortly, I will be extremely surprised. But that's not where the fucking shenanigans end. So, while she's outside practicing her karate moves and, basically roundhouse kicks, her dog goes and gets a thing of Jiffy like muffin mix or something and tries to leave the store. So they were pissed at the dog because it was, on its own volition trying to, shoplift. Then her son goes to the back of the store and takes off all of his clothes, exposing himself to multiple customers, then taking clothes off the racks and putting them on and trying to leave with the clothes on. Well, they kind of cornered him. Somehow he got access to a motorized scooter that I'm sure it's not specified, but I'm pretty sure we all know it, you know, one of those that you can pick up in any grocery store or whatever, that's got a nice little basket on the front and tops out at a solid 5 miles an hour, if that. He tries to run over the officers, and I just I love how they describe, well, they said officers physically stopped the scooter and arrested him. So he didn't.
The way this article is written is just gold. Like,
yeah,
I would say go read it yourself. It is so good,
dude. It's literally, it's like a short story of just like fucking two lunatics and a dog. Like,
yeah.
But then, like, you're sitting here thinking, like, did they try to, like, purposely come up with this plan to, like, go steal some clothes from the store, from, like, Walmart? Like, I mean,
dude,
or say, hey, Doggy Bo, you're gonna go in there and steal some muffin mix for us.
I know. I love how they talk about Bo like he had some conscious decision in all of this process.
Yeah.
Like he was a third party.
Exactly. But, I mean, dude, this screams mental illness to me, right? Either that or some kind of, like, intoxication, right?
Or, like, family drug session or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Drugs or mental illness or a combination,
or,
honestly.
Yeah. And because, I mean, you look at these photos and both of them, for lack of a better way to describe them, they look like they'd both been rode hard and put up wet. So...
Yeah. I wish they'd put a picture of Bo, too.
I know, right?
I know. I was expecting there to be a picture of him as well.
Yeah.
It looks like both of them just got, like, knocked right in the nose, though.
Yeah,
His is just bright red. Hers is just bruised across the bridge.
Yeah, dude. It looks like the Van Smith family definitely received their comeuppance from the police that responded. So, but
this last line is so good. The dog was not charged. Police issued him a warning for the theft.
That's amazing. Oh my god! But anyway, we'll go ahead and cruise on from this one. But yeah, I would like Matt said, I would recommend that everybody hop on there and look at show notes and just dive into that article. It's super short, so it'll take you like 2 seconds to read. But my god, is it a gold mine? So this other one that I picked up was from it was a Fox affiliate in California. And basically what had happened was this family, title of the article was Pet Pig Named Princess Slaughtered by Neighbor While Police Search for Owners. This is kind of a fucked up story, but basically what happened is let's see, what was it? So a California family reported their pig is missing, I believe. And so the Acarda police department had responded to loose livestock, which apparently is not out of the ordinary for Humboldt County in California. But so they go to the call, and there was a pig loose, and it was like in a neighbor's yard or something along those lines. So they asked the neighbor to watch the pig while the police actually went to find the actual owners. Well, the owners had also called in basically the pig missing, so it was pretty easy to track them down. And they show back up to the neighbor's house and to I'm just gonna read it verbatim because I thought this was pretty incredible. It was easy to find Princess's owners, who were also looking for her, and an hour later, police returned to the neighbor's house, only to arrive at a gruesome discovery. The neighbor was butchering the pig for meat. So they said that basically, I mean, they were only gone an hour, and I would say that it takes a hot minute to butcher some type of livestock. And this is a 400-pound pig, yeah. So it's not like it's a small thing a small undertaking. But yeah. So the police were quoted as saying, "We were totally shocked and surprised to learn that the pig had been slaughtered." And they said that it's especially considering that they had, quote, reached a reasonable agreement with the neighbor. So I mean, like. And they said that they were only gone an hour, so as far along as he was in the butchering process, they were like, dude, this guy had to have literally started butchering or slaughtering this pig as soon as the police left. So, which I don't know, I don't know why you would think that you would be able to get away with something like that, right? Because, I mean, it's like the police already know that you had the pig, and that's something that would.
I don't know if maybe he thought he could get it like broken down before they got back and just store it and be like, "Oh, it ran away again."
Yeah, maybe so.
Broken down.
yeah. But yeah, like, and I mean, I guess that is what he was thinking. But at this point, I think that I think they're actually They wrapped up the article with saying basically that the police are expecting to forward a criminal charge to the district attorney's office. So I don't know what he would be charged with. I mean, obviously a pet would be someone's property, right? But
yeah,
if
and
he
apparently
didn't
the guy that
steal
butchered it wasn't even the actual neighbor, the homeowner. It was like a friend or something.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, that line right before it had mentioned that. I believe it was just a man that was known to the homeowner. So.
Oh, okay. Bizarre, dude.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
I'm
wait,
reading that now.
So the neighbor was like, "Oh yeah, I'll watch it," and then another dude started slaughtering the pig.
I don't know if it was the neighbor that agreed to watch it or if it was this guy that actually slaughtered it that agreed to it, but Apparently whoever actually did the slaughtering was not the neighbor, though. It was just some guy that the homeowner knew.
This article doesn't make sense, though, because up higher it says the neighbor was butchering the pig for meat. But then down at the bottom, like Matt said, it wasn't the homeowner.
Yeah, because it says that he was quoted as saying, he took it upon himself to give my animal away, and then it got butchered.
Yeah.
So the dude that said that he would watch it gave the animal away, I guess.
Well, I think it was the officer. Like it, I don't know. This article is a bit all
I don't know.
Yeah.
Fox News, get your stuff
I think the officer found it and then had agreed to had talked to the neighbor or this man that was known to the neighbor.
Yeah.
And they had come to an agreement to watch it, and then that guy butchered the pig.
Gotcha.
But I mean, she gives a great description of the pig. The owner does. Very sweet, not aggressive, likes to be around people. So sounds perfect for some sausage.
I guess at 400 pounds, you can't be very aggressive, right?
Yeah. No, but I totally agree, Matt. That I mean, it sounds like the exact attributes I would want in my sausage. So sweet, not aggressive. But yeah, man. So I don't know. Pigs are getting slaughtered in Humboldt County. So hide your pigs, hide your cows, because they're on the prowl, man. But anyway, we'll cruise on to this next one because I thought this next one was kind of fucked. But you wanna head into that one for us, Matt?
Yeah, I can take it. So this comes from a local ABC in Illinois. There's a school under some controversy after removing the bathroom stall doors from all of their bathrooms. So they cited that the reason behind this, and this is in the Beardston School District, that a note was found written on one of the stall walls for a kid threatening to have a school shooting, basically. And so they removed all of the doors overnight, and all of the students came in to find that they no longer had their doors up on their stalls, essentially, taking away all their privacy. They did interview a few of the kids. One of them was this kid named Juan, and for some reason he knew way too much about the girls' bathroom and how they're trying to add privacy to their stalls.
Yeah.
But he was saying that the girls have been bringing in blankets and hanging them up in place of the doors. Some people have elected to place boots out in front of the stalls just to let people know that they're occupied, although, that's not going to stop them from coming around the corner and just taking a gander at what's going on.
They're like, they start off and they're like, we interviewed Juan Juarez, a very well-known voyeur for the school district.
Amateur boy. Oh, man.
But yeah.
But they have compromised with the girls and have started to allow them to use the private restroom in the nurse's office, just because they do realize that girls have different needs than boys, and so that I think that was a good decision on their part.
I mean, that just seems like super fucked, in my opinion. Like that's I mean, that's like on the verge of like fucking like prison, like a prison environment, that it's like, oh my God, because some dumb ass dude that was probably just trying to fucking whatever, get out of a day of school or whatever, because he decided to jot down some kind of fucking threat on a wall. Like,
yeah, that
just doesn't, it just seems like it's like, oh, well, you know what? I found out that you can strangle somebody with using a shirt, so none of the kids are allowed to wear shirts anymore. You know? Yeah. It just seems like it's complete and utter overreach. Because I mean, like, what do you think that they are like looking to achieve? You know?
I mean, it's definitely a safety measure, and to add to the police stateness of this a little bit. The bathrooms, there's only one door that the students are allowed to enter and exit, so they can monitor who's coming and going. And they're also wanding students, which, if you're not familiar with that term, it just means that they're using their metal detectors, and they're performing random searches as well.
Yeah.
So I think when we had discussed this article initially, you were a bit more not outraged, but just, more concerned with what was going on with it than I was possibly. And I think that comes from me going to a public school in Little Rock for high school. We were subjected to random searches and wanding as well because we had a lot of gang fights after school. There were incidences where people were found with guns on the campus, and we would get random bomb threats every now and then as well. I went to Little Rock Central, which is a national historic site, and so they took those fairly serious because, it's a historic site. So those are probably a little bit more viable than your run-of-the-mill bomb threats, if there's such a thing. But like when I went to school, it was also like the height of like the anti-terrorism movement as well. So there is all this concern that, oh my God, they're, if they're going to target anything, they're going to target something that matters to the country. But it's still like, it's a high school. Yes, it has significance, but I don't think it has that type of significance necessarily. Like if they're going to, take out anything, it's going to be something with more national recognition than Little Rock Central.
Yeah. Which you just made me, I'm going to go on a slight tangent for a second. Cause you were talking about how, basically when you were in high school, it was kind of the apex of basically like terrorist threats and shit like that, And, when did you graduate, high school, Matt?
05.
05. Okay, so you're same age as me, or at least same grade or whatever in high school. And I remember because as a freshman, that was 2000, 9/11, 2001.
Yeah.
So I remember the principal coming on the loudspeaker and being like, "We're under attack." Like that's how she started her fucking announcement. And we were like, everybody's like, what the fuck? Like, Bearden High School's under attack? Like, why are they attacking us? And who's attacking us?
It's a great way to cause some anxiety and some panic.
Mass panic.
Yeah, it was the most bizarre thing ever. But she's like, we're under attack. And then she went on to actually explain what the fuck she was talking about. Like, it was so weird. But yeah, I mean, I don't remember, Megan, do you remember like any of this stuff going down at Bearden, like random searches and stuff?
No, so like Daniel and I were talking about this earlier, and they had 2 bathrooms open during the school day. So they would close all the like little side bathrooms, but then they'd have a bathroom in one of the big wings on the east and west side. So like if you had to go to the bathroom, then you could go to the bathroom. But they had all the other ones that were semi-closed off. So I mean, like that seems like something this school should do, because I feel like all the girls are just going to be going to the nurse's office, right? I mean, I know I would. Even if, how are they going to know if you actually have a need that makes you need to use the private bathroom,
Yeah. It just seems like they've overstepped a little bit for no apparent reason. Because I completely agree with Megan, and I think we were actually talking about it a little bit, but before the show. But basically, they would have 2 designated restrooms that you could easily get to and back to a classroom within 5 minutes or something like that. 5-minute walk kind of thing to and from. So, I mean, it just made sense, but.
And I would agree this is probably an overstep as far as removing the doors from the stalls. Like, I think the wanding and the random searches would be sufficient for what they're attempting to do.
For sure.
It's not like some kid's going to walk in with a AK-47 shoved down his pants and you're not going to catch that at a wanding or a random search. And
I mean, if there was a bigger message than what was written, I mean, that's a big message to write on a bathroom stall. But I mean, everybody writes something on the bathroom stalls in public high schools, right?
Yeah.
So,
I think I was trying to remember one of the amazing like poems that somebody like would write. It's like obviously, you know, there once was a man from Nantucket. That's a real humdinger of a poem to jot up on your bathroom wall. But yeah, I think that I would be very surprised to see, because I think at the end of this article they were talking about how they were listening to parents' feedback and they're going to take that into consideration. I would dare say that these stall doors will be replaced sooner more than later. Or sooner than later.
I think if the parents see Juan Juarez on the TV screen smiling as he discusses the privacy of the female students, they may change their tune.
Yeah, exactly.
God, just think of when you were reading this article to me, I was just like, man, this would suck to be a female at the school and then like having my monthly menstrual cycle and like having to go to the bathroom and like everyone can just basically stare and watch.
Yeah. I mean, that's just, it's completely inappropriate, but
yeah.
All right. Well, we will go ahead and cruise from here, but so this next one I pulled, and I'm just going to go ahead and call a mad nerd alert on my self for it. But I pulled it from The Verge, and the title of the article was "See the First Image Ever Taken of a Supermassive Black Hole." So there are so many jokes that could be made about the title of this article. I'm not going to do it. I'll let
taking the high road for once, huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the high road, dude. But I'm sure I'll go ahead and throw one out there. I mean, like, you know what? Yeah, it was your mom bent over. How about that? You know, something along those lines. A spread butt cheek pic. Looking.
You got to read the little subtitle of it.
Yeah, look on this black hole, ye mighty, and despair. But anyway, so super fucking cool development though. So basically we were able to, or some scientists, I say we, I'm gonna go ahead and include myself. Some scientists, They had put together this concept of a telescope called the Event Horizon Telescope. Now, just to do a super I guess light sprinkling of astrophysics in here. The event horizon is basically the plane around a black hole that light is still able to escape before the gravitational pull of a black hole does not allow light to escape. So they were actually able to image that for the first time. And so this is absolutely huge, because being able to do this, they likened it to standing in New York City and counting the dimples on a golf ball that is on a golf course in Los Angeles. That's basically like the scale that that they're trying to achieve with this, which is obviously blows my mind. Now the way that they were able to do this, they basically had, I believe, eight different telescopes on 5 different continents, because they needed to almost emulate a telescope that is the size of our planet, kind of thing. And since it's obviously pretty unrealistic to actually manufacture something of that size, what they did is they took the data that was received over a week at all of these different telescopes, and then they shipped this data, which the amount of data that's gathered that they had to analyze, they said that it could be compared to 5,000 years of MP3 files. So it wasn't even practical to transfer this data over the internet, because it would have taken like so long. So they took the data down on hard drives and then shipped them all to this one supercomputer. And I don't know if they actually, let's see, I was trying to remember if they actually said where the data was analyzed, but anyway. So they sent all this data over, and then were able to put it together and sync it up to where they could have a clear image with all of it. And the funny thing is it's like you see the image, and it's really not that. It's not that like crazy kind of thing, you know. I mean, but to know what you're looking at is just absolutely it's insane, man. It absolutely is insane. But and I was trying to remember where so it's the black hole at the center of the galaxy Messier 87, which that immediately made me think of the band M87, right? Didn't they do that? What was that song? Dun, dun, you know what I'm talking about.
The worst at song names.
But anyway, they're a good band. If you don't know, I would check it out. But dude, this black hole is located 55 million light years away from Earth. I mean, that is so. That I mean, it's like talking about like once people start talking about like trillions of dollars, or honestly, I would even go as far as to say billions of dollars, it almost loses its meaning. You know what I'm saying? Because you're just talking about this scale that that we're so removed from that, you know. I mean, I can't even imagine what $1 billion looks like. You know?
Yeah. Just
one with a lot of zeros. But anyway.
I mean, did anybody try to capture this with the panorama on their iPhone? I mean, that's kind of what it sounds like, right?
Yeah, right. We put an iPhone on every continent with a really, really good telescope. That's actually how they got
Put a fisheye lens on
with
it.
With a fisheye lens. We had to stand really still for a week entirely. God, man. But I would 100% recommend all the listeners to look this up or look in the show notes, pull this article. I'm sure that this basically, you look at any science magazine, and I'm sure this is on the forefront. But they had a really cool video that was included in this article that explains how the Event Horizon Telescope works. And I mean, it's just humanity surprises me both in good and bad ways every day. This is one of those good ones. So, and it's just really, really cool to know that we have the ability to do this now, you know. But
to answer your question about the supercomputer location, I think it was like multiple, because I did a clickbait and clicked on this other article about online trolls are harassing a scientist who helped take the first picture of a black hole. So there's like a photo going around of this researcher, Katie Bowman or something. So there's something going around about she wasn't the only person that was part of this picture discovery.
Yeah.
So later down in this article, it says there was more than 200 scientists, 60 institutes. Yeah. 18 countries and 6 continents.
Yeah, I mean, just the sheer scale of like how many people it took and how many different countries were working together. I mean, dude, we're talking continents. Honestly, 5 different continents, man. Hell, there's only 7, aren't there? So, but yeah, man, I would 100% definitely recommend people looking into this, especially if you have any interest in any interest in black holes and time-space continuums. So
yeah, and check out, there's some really cool photos, like some more outside of that one article.
Yeah, there really are. But yeah, man.
Listen to some Muse to get you in the mood. Some supermassive black hole.
Exactly, man. But anyway, we'll go ahead and cruise on from here. And I believe, Matt, you wanna take this next one, man?
Yeah. So this next article comes from The Guardian. Apparently there was a woman in Taiwan that was having some eye pain.
Mm-hmm.
She went into her doctor, and when he put her under the microscope, is what it made it sound like, he found some legs inside of her eye, and he started to pull at these little legs and extracted a sweat bee.
Oh, God. That sounds excruciating.
Yes, and it wasn't just one sweat bee. They were able to remove 4 live sweat bees from this woman's tear duct. They had been living in her duct, feeding on the water and salt from her tears.
Which I'm sure were fucking plentiful. I mean, Jesus, I would be bawling my shit out if I had fucking bees in my eyes.
Yeah. So,
oh my
this woman who they only cited is he, which is her surname, she said she had been pulling weeds at a family gravesite and thought she had gotten some soil in her eye. So she flushed it with some water, but later noticed that it was swelling and she had some stinging pain. I wonder where the stinging pain was coming from, right?
Yeah, right. These things are just working right under her eyelid.
I know, and like they look small, but it's like, how do 4 of these little fuckers get your tear ducts without you noticing?
Well, yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Well, and the other thing is the photo that they have that they pulled from Twitter. It's like they don't look that fucking small. I mean, considering how, I mean, like what this they look like grains of rice, basically that size. Which, yes, that's small, but I mean, considering you get a piece of lint in your eye and it's terrible, like how?
But I feel like she waited like 12 hours to like go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
But there was some comment on the Twitter picture that was like comparing bee sizes and was like, let's not blow this out of proportion, guys. It's not like it was 4, honeybees that flew into her eye, and like they had a honeybee compared to the size of a sweat bee, but it's still like, how do you not notice a sweat bee digging or burrowing its way into your tear duct? Like, not just 1, 4 of them. 4 sweat bees.
So were they actually in her tear duct?
They were in her tear duct.
Oh,
like
dude,
when they went to go visualize what was going on with her eye, like the doctor said that all he could see were like what appeared to be little legs.
Dude,
and so he just started to pull them.
Yeah,
they said the only reason that her sight was saved was because she avoided rubbing her eyes. Like, this lady, the discipline of this woman, 1, to not notice sweat bees going into your eye, 2, to not rub your eye for 12 hours or however long they were in there. Like, unbelievable.
Dude, like, this woman needs to like become like a nun or try to join some kind of convent or become a monk or something. I don't know, because I mean, that is just, I don't understand. Like I've said just now, you get lint in your eye. Dude, when I get an eyelash in my eye, it's the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
Like,
And do sweat bees like travel in groups? Because anytime I've seen like a sweat bee, it's just 1.
Yeah. So that's the other thing, is it's like, yeah, how the fuck did she get 4?
Like, was this longer than a night and somehow they like, multiplied? Like, she gave birth to a sweat bee in her eye duct.
Oh.
She's got a hive just living in there now.
Seriously, dude. That is just insane, though. I mean, like, and then the doc said they're not usually aggressive and sting only if touched. I think that's fucking bullshit. I know I've been stung by sweat bees and not touched.
Yeah.
They've landed on me and just stung me because they're assholes. So
yeah.
But God, man, that's brutal. I don't know.
Yeah. Again, I don't understand how you don't notice these things going into your eye. Like, again, they're small, but they are like rice grain size. Like, surely after the first one, like, you notice something's up.
Yeah. And like you said, dude, the fact that she didn't rub her eye, what?
Yeah.
That's like crazy. That's like an innate response to something being in your eye.
Yeah.
But anyway.
It sounds like these bees need to go to the honor code office.
Yeah, right. Nice segue, Miri. Miri's going to kick off this next one. That's kind of pretty intense, honestly.
Yeah, dude. So there's a university in Utah called Brigham Young University. It's a private university owned by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Mormons.
Yeah,
Mormons.
Dude. So there's a petition going around because they have this honor code office. And there's like 11,000 signatures already for this petition where undergrad and graduate students are calling for the university to update its honor code system. Mm-hmm. So this one girl that was mainly interviewed for this, Sydney Drogan, she said she waited until she received her diploma last fall to, I guess, get this petition started. Because she didn't want something to happen with her being able to get her diploma.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like a lot of people have had bad experiences with this honor code system. Mm-hmm. And things have been revoked for them or they've been thrown out of the school. So it's already gotten 19,000 followers. Mm-hmm. The honor code statement on the university's website calls on students to live a chaste and virtuous life, use clean language, and observe dress and grooming standards, among other standards. Mm-hmm. So I guess basically people can like tattle on you that you've not followed some of this stuff, and you'll be reported to the honor code office and have to report.
So basically the honor code for BYU is just like super super fucking strict, right?
Yeah, like so I got on their website to look at it. Mm-hmm. Let me look at it real quick. Okay. Like Matt, I was telling Daniel earlier today, we'd be thrown out of this school because you can't have long hair. You can't have beards, which clearly I don't have a beard, but I have long hair. And you can't have like piercings. Your dress code has to be a certain length.
Are scrubs allowed?
Yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah. I mean, there's obviously things like don't break the law. No alcohol or drugs.
I'm kind of familiar with some of these. I actually went to a private university for a 2-week summer intersession. And even though it was 2 weeks, you still had to follow every single rule that went into their code of conduct.
But if you don't mind my asking, what university was it?
Harding University. They are Church of Christ, I believe. Oh,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was something else that Megan and I were kind of looking into because, I mean, I would think that unless you were part of the LDS church, I wouldn't think that you would have much of an interest in going to Brigham Young. But they don't say that you necessarily are required to be a part of the church.
Yeah,
no, you're not.
Like, I know at one point they've had like a very big sports program. Sorry, Miri.
No, you're fine. I looked at the missions website, and they have an LDS price and a non-LDS price. So they kind of treat it like out-of-state tuition.
Gotcha.
Because they raise it by like $3,000 if you're a non-LDS.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I was looking at the pricing. It's not that bad, like just tuition-wise. But
hey, maybe you could send Finn.
Yeah, right. No, I don't know about that, man. I think I know too much about like the LDS church to send Finn.
But yeah, so I thought this was interesting because the Dragon girl said in here, she's quoted as saying, "It's not so much about you and God and your church anymore. It's also this office, 4th floor in Wilkinson Center. That's where you're going to go to repent." Dude,
that just like gives me chills hearing that, to be honest. because it's just like I didn't have any problems with the like whatever code of conduct or anything like that with my university, but trying to go through and get like credits approved and stuff like that. Going to like the admissions office, or not admissions, but advising office, and just like basically it's such a mess, and they have you just they have you under their thumb until you fucking receive that diploma. And it's just, I mean, for instance, I know that UT, if you had any unpaid parking tickets, they would not send you your diploma, no matter how little like whatever you owed and stuff. Which, I mean, I guess that makes sense, but it's also one of those things that it's like, okay, I've spent however many tens of thousands of dollars or maybe $100,000 on, getting some kind of degree, and you're going to hold it for like a $10 parking ticket. Like,
yeah, they're going to nickel and dime you as much as they can to the very end, man.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah. And then this article, like, kind of took a different turn.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was supposed to be about this petition, but then I guess the NBC News reached out to BYU, and the university person, like, this is their own fault, but they started talking about Instagram. So there's an Instagram account where I guess supposedly students can submit stories and they'll get posted on this Instagram account. And it's called like the Honor Code Stories. And there's all these stories out there about people that have gone or been reported and have to go to this office. And some of these stories are just crazy. Like, I'm a social media person, so I went and looked at the Honor Code Stories on Instagram. And, like, people are getting falsely reported for things, but even though the office finds, like, that's legit, they were falsely reported, they're telling the students, well, if you get reported for something else again, we're going to assume that it's correct or true because you've already been reported for something else, even though we agree that it was false.
Yeah. It's just the fact that your name's on the fucking radar at that point.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And then, like, in this article, they're saying that the Instagram posts, are anonymous. You're not going to be able to figure out who it is and stuff. But then I'm like, well, then how are these even getting posted to Instagram?
Well, so I was actually just thinking about that. And I know, do you remember, are either of you guys familiar with Post Secret?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not.
Okay. So basically Post Secret was this thing, it was it like an art project or something?
Yeah, it was like a postcard thing.
Yeah, and people would send anonymous postcards with like either like inspirational messages or like really depressing messages, and basically just something so that they could get something off their chest in an anonymous manner. Mm-hmm. And it was created into like, I think it was an art exhibit, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
But you can also get like the books of the postcards and stuff. And I mean, it's actually a really neat thing, but it's like, man, there's some real like depressing and just sad, and your heart goes out to these people. But, the reason that I say that is because I bet that their Instagram account does something similar, so that it's like, hey, I'm gonna shoot you an email from a burner account or whatever. I'll somehow get this information to some kind of a moderator, and then the moderator posts it anonymously, kind of thing. Yeah,
I was trying to look on their account and see like how
is it a private account?
Something. No, like anybody can look at it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's got 36,000 followers.
Yeah, but the thing that was really crazy about this shit is, for instance, they had one post that was cited in this article, and they were quoted as saying, "I was suspended for 3 semesters for attempting suicide because my attempt involved alcohol and pills." And so,
or that other one, another person claimed that she was violently sexually assaulted after a date, but was afraid to report the attack because her having been in the unnamed assailant's bedroom might be considered a violation of the honor code. Like, that's crazy. Like, you're so afraid you're going to get in trouble for reporting that.
For, reporting a fucking, like, sexual assault kind of shit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, I mean, that's, in my opinion, that's not a viable functioning honor code.
Yeah.
It's not in the student's best interest by any fucking stretch of the imagination, so. But yeah, man, it's just, I don't know. I would think that this seems to be getting enough press that I would think that there would be some kind of revision in the future.
Yeah. And that's what that petition is going for, is just to like revise it, not get rid of it.
Yeah. Which makes sense. I mean, shit, dude, you know, as time elapses, shit needs to be revamped, you know? It's like, for instance, you know, I mean, hell, dude, 50 years ago, you know, whatever, weed was like criminalized and whatever. At this point, you know, we've got like, 12 states that it's like recreationally legal or something along those lines.
Well, and you got to think about how old these students are. Like, they're 18 to 22-year-olds.
Yeah.
And some of these, they're bringing up things that happened before they were even at this college.
Yeah. Because I think that the one girl that was interviewed in this, her stuff was just like a post.
Before.
Yeah, it was literally like an Instagram post or something.
She liked a Twitter post or something that they didn't agree with.
Yeah.
And so she had to go to this office like 2 times a week or something.
Yeah, something like that.
To basically write journals and repent.
Yeah. And they basically had like, I think they said that they printed out like 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper that had like really big lettering of like what she had violated, so that it just like drills it into her brain every time. I mean, honestly, it sounds almost like fucking like just brainwashing almost, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think that it'll get addressed soon, because it seems like, especially with the whole Me Too movement and all of that. I mean, like, dude, you can't make victims afraid to report crimes because of.
And it seems like maybe there is a history of them like doing something similar to this if she's scared to go and report it. Like, surely maybe they're not doing things on an individual basis, you know, maybe they're just like kind of lumping everything together, and there's like, this is how this type of situation is handled, no exceptions.
Yeah, just super black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet you're right, man. But yeah, I would say BYU, watch out. Your honor code is gonna get fucking worked over soon. But all right, well, let's cruise into this next one, man. And I believe, Matt, are you? I think. Yeah,
so I've got this one. This one comes from Ars Technica. Mm-hmm. It's an article about the Verizon 5G launch. So this is launched in select areas of Minneapolis and Chicago over the past week, touting, you know, up to a gig essentially download speeds. Mm-hmm. So 5G is the latest and greatest in our wireless technology.
So it does exist.
It does exist. Our infrastructure, from everything that I've listened to and read, though, is not there for it, though. It's going to, from what I've been seeing, it's going to take lots and lots of time, lots and lots of money, and probably a lot of development in space that we may or may not be able to accommodate. I don't know. We'll see how things go down the road. Yeah. But anyways, so they launched in Minneapolis and Chicago this past week. Mm-hmm. And they invited some journalists out to kind of give this network a spin. Well, apparently it's not all it's touted to be. So there is
no way.
Right? Who could imagine? But they had some journalists from The Verge and CNET both come out and directed them to certain areas of Chicago. So kind of some popular areas, the Chicago Theater, the Chicago Art Institute, the Bean that's in Chicago. I think is it Millennium Park that's by?
I think that's right.
Something like that.
That sounds right.
So they directed them to some of these areas, and the reason for that is that these areas were supposed to be considered concentrated 5G covered areas. Though they were able to pull some decent speeds. The journalist from The Verge was able to get download speeds of 410 to 573 megabytes, and then upload speeds of 10 to 29. And CNET, they were able to get up to 634, but then they also mentioned that they were down to like in the 200s as well as far as download speeds. They didn't mention uploads at all. But the biggest issue here was that it was very spotty coverage. So even in these concentrated areas that they were directed to by Verizon technicians and representatives, they were constantly connecting and disconnecting from the 5G network, or just not picking up the network at all. Wow. And so they were having problems actually telling, like, or really downloading anything at a consistent speed. I think one of them even said, and this may have actually been from another article I read, but they were having problems even telling if they were connected to a 5G network or not, because if they weren't actively downloading something and connected to the 5G network, it wouldn't specify if they were on the 5G network. So like if they were connected to it, but the phone wasn't necessarily doing anything that required data, you couldn't tell. So that was interesting. Yeah. But they're all provided with this one phone, because there is only one phone currently in the US that is compatible with this 5G network, and it was the Motorola Z3, which also requires a Verizon exclusive 5G Moto Mod attachment.
This sounds like a bunch of fucking a bunch of hoops to jump through to maybe get something.
Yeah. So it's sounding like maybe this is a bit of a what's the word? Modular phone, like we had talked about last week, with this attachment that you have to put onto it.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be fucking awesome if it was just this super fucking clunky satellite that's just on the top of your fucking
Well, I'm hoping
phone.
It looks like one of the old 1980s cell phone, like those bricks, and you just like clip your Moto Z3 into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, dude.
But the tests were not what they had anticipated. Essentially, it was a more or less underwhelming showing. Yeah. Now they did talk to the VP of network engineering with Verizon, Mike Haberman. He said that it's going to take time. He noted, they need to increase the number of cell sites, increase the spectrum at which the wavelengths work at. Currently, their 4G LTE network runs on a 700 megahertz spectrum, and the new 5G is running at a 28 gigahertz. So big jump there. AT&T is also developing their 5G network, which they said I think runs at 32 or 34 gigahertz. And then obviously like technology improvements, and they had noted beam steering is being beam steering.
I didn't have a chance move?
It probably is. I didn't have a chance to look into it.
Oh, then I hit her with the beam steer.
I was scared to Google it.
Yeah, I wouldn't Google that.
Definitely don't get on Urban Dictionary looking for beam steering. But yeah, so the biggest hang up that I've heard about 5G was really just the fact that it's the distance that they're able to achieve with the different antennas or whatever, because currently the cell towers will reach, you look at all these coverage maps from AT&T and Verizon and all this stuff, and they, for instance, let's say they've got one at my house and it reaches all the way to my folks' house or something like that. That's 15 minutes away. Well, with 5G, if they had an antenna in the same spot, it's only going to reach like something like half to a third to a half of that distance, right? Or something along those lines. So it's going to require...
So most of the test distances here were under 600 feet. I think they actually...
600 feet?
Yes, that was the max distance that I read. And I think that was in a separate article for AT&T. Like the ones for Verizon's, they were testing within about 500 feet of the actual cell tower. And something else they noted was that these new spectrums that they're running at, these newer wavelengths, they're more easily blocked as well. They went into a little bit more detail in the article about AT&T, saying that glass is a major barrier to these new spectrums.
Are you fucking kidding me? Glass?
No, I'm not. Glass. They did their test with AT&T down in Dallas. In this park they were in, has a glass building or a glass dome restaurant in the middle of it. And they were saying that when they were outside the dome, they were pulling downloads, like consistent download speeds, I think of around 200 to 300 megabytes. And then as soon as they would step inside the building, it dropped to 92.
Jeez, dude.
And that was something that the Verizon article mentioned as well, is like these higher spectrums, like they're great because they provide us with more data or like, bandwidth, however you want to detail it. But we have to contend with all these new issues of things that, being more easily blocked than previous ones were.
Yeah, and plus the infrastructure for just getting the number of antennas that are going to be needed to cover areas. I mean, dude, that is going to be a huge undertaking, right? Unless they figure out some way to relay, like, have like signal relays kind of thing or something along those lines.
Yeah, it looks like currently Verizon is going the way of your more traditional cell towers. But the AT&T article was noting that they had like a array of panels of some sort on top of a building, like a pre-existing building. So it sounds like maybe theirs are slightly less invasive and more just like we can attach it to a already existing building.
Yeah.
So they can just kind of like contract or like pay out people if they want to do that. Whereas Verizon sounding like it's more of a new structure that has to be built.
Yeah.
Again, that I don't know that for sure. That's just more speculation from the way they were talking about the two different antenna or cell sites. But it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. I actually just got off the phone with my fiance this morning. She's over in Korea still, and one of her cousins had mentioned that they have a 5G network over there as well, and they have the new Samsung Galaxy phones that can run on that 5G network. But the phone is not very popular because it is constantly trying to switch back and forth between the 5G and the 4G network, but it's not a seamless transition, so you actually get a lot of dropped calls.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, because I think that one of the other wasn't Huawei touting like 5G stuff in China?
Probably. I'm sure they were.
I mean, I think that's kind of that's the new arms race for the time being, is trying to get 5G implemented in your country. But yeah. And
I'm sure the most important part that the listeners want to know is that it's a $10 extra charge for 5G with Verizon. But you have to have an unlimited plan. They won't attach it to any other type of plan. So you got to go get that Moto Z3, get the unlimited plan, and then you can pay your extra $10 a month for super spotty.
So you got to pay an extra $50 for 5G.
Yeah. So basically, you have one option for a phone, you have one option for a plan, and then in addition to that, you're going to get upcharged, and you have to have a mod to put on the phone.
Exactly.
I think 5G is a little bit further out than the next couple of years or something. So.
You're not going to early adopt this, man?
Fuck no. But anyway, staying in the tech sector, I pulled an article from The Verge, and it was Foxconn says empty buildings in Wisconsin are not empty. So this was kind of weird to me, or at least it just seems like there were a lot of red flags in this article that it's just like, well, what are you planning to do with this? But so Foxconn is I believe it's Taiwanese multinational electronics contract manufacturer. So they deal with basically if there's a country that is using tech, they build shit for them. Period. They build components for everything from any kind of Apple product, like Amazon Kindles, Nintendo products, PlayStation products. I mean, like, very most likely, if you have a piece of tech, there is an aspect of that piece of tech that was manufactured by a Foxconn manufacturer or whatever. So they were actually able to, or I believe somehow Trump worked out some kind of stimulus thing and I believe it's Wisconsin. Yeah, Wisconsin. Yeah, it's in the title of the article. Of course, it's Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so he worked out some kind of thing with them to build some innovation centers, is what they're kind of being dubbed, in Wisconsin. And by getting those contracts, they would allow, these huge tax breaks, and, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Everybody knows how kind of the business industry works. But anyway, so they start building these. They're either building new buildings or taking over these entire buildings, and they're not doing anything with them, which is really weird. And so it was brought up to the, let's see, who's Foxconn's Alan, and I think it's Jung, Yeung. And this was covered in the Wisconsin State Journal article. And so it says, Jung assured those in attendance at Monona Terrace that the Madison building will not be empty, eliciting nervous laughter from the crowd. So this comment comes after The Verge raised questions about their quote innovation centers that are scattered across Wisconsin, because a lot of these centers have either stalled in any kind of like work being done, or have basically had contracts pulled. So Jung said the article had a lot of quote, a lot of inaccuracies. The buildings are not empty, and that the company would issue a correction soon. He discouraged people such as reporters from, quote, climbing trees to determine building occupancy. So he said, we do have a plan, and we actually will make sure the building is adequate and well equipped before we move people in. So after this was said, one of the Verge photographers, a guy by the name of Josh, I don't even, Ziza or something. Deeza. Yeah. He literally just walked up to one of the buildings and took some photos of like inside of a window. So, whatever. And lo and behold, the building doesn't have a whole lot of shit in it. It literally looks like an abandoned warehouse kind of thing.
But it is not empty. There is stuff in there.
It's not empty. It's not empty.
Got some toolboxes.
Yeah. There's at least 2 sawhorses and...
There's a stop sign.
Yeah.
A ladder.
Yeah. But it looks like they're probably a little far out to actually start manufacturing in the building. So...
Hey, but they've got the important part. They've got the fire extinguisher down there in case any of that concrete burns up, man.
Yeah, exactly. They've already gotten that checked off the list from OSHA, so they're good on that front. But anyway, so The Verge actually reached out to Foxconn to basically just give them an opportunity to explain, like, okay, well, if that's not what you're doing, what are you doing? And Foxconn has not said anything or not made any remarks or basically put any of these, as Jung said, inaccuracies to bed or to rest. But Foxconn has steadfastly refused to tell anyone in the world what its promised, quote, AI 8K plus 5G ecosystem is. Which would be good to know in general, as the state of Wisconsin has already spent hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars on infrastructure, kicked people out of their homes, and earmarked up to $4.5 billion with a B in tax breaks against building it. So, anytime. And of course, Foxconn said nothing. I would absolutely love to know what the fuck what an AI 8K plus 5G ecosystem is. That just literally seems like they strung together a bunch of like current buzz terms,
Yeah.
It's like if you
Skynet, man, that's what it is. It's gonna be Skynet.
Yeah, right. Honestly, you throw fucking machine learning in there, and my God, you've got it all covered. So,
so did they kick people out of their homes to build this?
I'm assuming some of these buildings. That's basically what happened. So
what? It's like
the first article makes more sense now.
Wait, say what?
The first article makes more sense now. Like that mother and son, they were probably tossed from their homes for these Foxconn buildings.
Yeah, right. Jeez. Do you want to repeat that, Miri?
What if it's like a secret underground activity, so it really isn't empty?
Yeah.
You just can't see it. The only way to get to it is like activate. I don't know.
You have to go in
this picture and have a code, and it'll open up the floor and
let you down. The R&D
like
department.
Batman or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, you have to go in the building, put in the passcode, which is 1234, because nobody's been there to update it. And then you have to yell, "Show me the AI 8K plus 5G ecosystem." I'm pretty sure that's the passcode.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see if anything comes of this. Is this, what it really seems like? I don't think that there's anything super like conspiratorial going on here. It seems like something that they jumped on these contracts to try to get tax breaks, and then maybe they, I don't know, their eyes were too big for their business stomachs or something along those lines. But
it's supposed to create 13,000 jobs.
Yeah, which I'm not gonna lie, I don't think there's 13,000 like tools in that one photo. So.
Yeah. I did see real quick about this. It said, other than buzzwords for high-resolution screens and high-speed cell networks, that's all that's being associated with that AI 8K plus 5G.
Yeah, dude. I swear, it's just like, I mean, it was like we were talking about on a previous cast that, that was why AT&T wanted to roll out that, and what was it called, Matt? It was like 5G.
The 5GE. So
5GE, yeah.
To backtrack just a little bit, when I read that other article about AT&T's 5G, so the 5GE network is currently up and running. The only thing is that it's just their 4G LTE network. That's all it is. It's just been rebranded, and they said people should know that it's not true 5G because of the "e" at the end.
Yeah.
So
gotcha.
it's
but it's
stupid.
It's completely deceiving. Let me put it that way. Because everybody sees the 5G and they're like, "Oh shit! Well, it's got to be at least close." Which you did just anecdotally say. It did seem a little bit faster, right, than just a baseline 4G like LTE.
It seems like it, but it could have been that like the infrastructure has been improved in the area that I live. It may not be anything that like it's an actual improvement in network. It may just be that the infrastructure has been better developed since they introduced 4G, a few years ago, and so now I'm actually reaping the fruits of that. But
Gotcha.
Yeah, I definitely would not say that it is equivalent to 5G from the speeds that we were looking at in that last article. So
yeah, because I mean, basically, true 5G is basically fiber speeds, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we're still a little far out for that, but
real quick
yeah.
on the Foxconn thing.
Yeah,
I'm just clicking all kinds of links here. So I guess a journalist from The Verge actually went into one of these buildings or somewhere where Foxconn employees are. And so he approached one, and he's finding out that most of them say they can't talk to the press. And one even shouted, "Oh no, sorry," while literally running down the sidewalk away from me. And then he said, I've seen Foxconn people with their purple lanyards, and I've seen the panic in their eyes when I introduce myself as a journalist.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, I think we happened upon a conspiracy here, honestly. I mean, like, if you look at I-94, you hit Madison, Euclid, and Minneapolis, just linking all of our articles together.
Dude, oh my God. Everybody quick, don your tinfoil hats.
There's a quote in this one. It says, "It's the Midwest Fire Festival, straight up."
Oh, that's awesome. Fucking Fire Festival. Which I know we talked about.
Is anybody willing to suck a dick for a truck of water?
For a truck of water? Dude, that's a good question. That is a very pertinent and good question.
If there's nobody that dedicated, it's not the Fire Festival.
Yes. You want to take it from 4G to 5G? Zip. But all right, well, we'll go ahead and cruise on to the last article of this episode. I pulled this one from the Verge, kind of coming full circle back around to video games, of which Matt and I partake in on the reg. And this has always been, since I've been a PlayStation owner, and become a PlayStation Plus member or whatever, it has been an issue for people have wanted to change their PlayStation IDs or PlayStation Network IDs. So I pulled this article from The Verge. Sony will now automatically replace offensive PlayStation Network IDs. So I thought this was interesting because you're now allowed to voluntarily change your PlayStation ID or PlayStation Network ID. But like the article says, if Sony deems your network ID to be offensive, then they just scrap it for the time being and give you like an ID of temp and then a string of numbers kind of thing until you go in and switch it manually, I guess, to something less offensive. But which is, I haven't read anything past this, but it seems like it would be, I don't know. I remember when I was deep in the throes of Destiny, and you'd be hanging out at the tower, which was like the communal community space kind of thing that you can just dick around with your character avatar.
Yeah.
And you'd have people running around that it was like, big dick 69 420, chasing a soccer ball after your mama's titties, 69. And I'm pretty sure both of those motherfuckers got flagged. So, but everybody knows, everybody that's done any kind of online gaming has always seen, that memorable network ID, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so they're basically going to be taking these names and assigning temp names, which, cool, whatever. It is really cool that you are now allowed to change your ID, and they have put things in place to basically help yourself be discoverable even after to your friends, even after you change it. For instance, I if I changed mine, my old ID would still show, I think, in like parentheses or something, like on my profile.
Yeah, so on your profile, it'll have in small font previously and then your ID.
Gotcha.
But
okay.
I think you can also opt out of that as well, because I had a few new people, new in quotations, on my friends list last night, and one of them had what their previous ID was, the other one did not.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, so you have seen a decent number of like changes or people changing?
I've only seen a few so far. I think a lot of my friends have not opted to try this yet, but some random people that I've played with, I know they have, and I've seen some people that have updated their names for Twitch TV and things like that. So I think people that are looking to getting into streaming are glad that they can now, add that little moniker to their name. But some of these suggestions, man, are just terrible.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I've got an article pulled up talking about some of the names, and this guy's original name was Gatch Attack, and the first suggested name is Vivacious 696 Sand. Sponge Polite 571.
Sponge Polite?
Yeah. Strange 251 Giant. Fluffy 383 Poison.
So I've noticed a theme that it has an interjected number in between two words, basically.
Yeah, so there's a number between two words, or it's two words separated by a hyphen with a number at the end, and it's always three numbers. How about menacing lunch 931 or menacing 931 lunch? There we go.
Dude, honestly, it almost sounds like they're using the same AI as the Fartinator from Spencer's Gifts. That it's like, the Insultinator. It's like, you are one big slimy fart. Just like stringing together. It has three pools of random words, and it just pulls one out at random and just fucking rolls on. So. But
this guy notes he almost went with Broken Yam 469.
That's actually not bad. I feel like, honestly, there's probably some gems in there.
Yeah, he's saying it spits out a lot of crap, but there's a few good ones every now and then.
Yeah. You don't get what?
I mean, this just seems silly. Like, it's a video game environment. Like, if you want to have a whatever bad behavior name, then so be it. If you're gonna get what's the word? If you're gonna get offended by it, then don't get on PlayStation.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think that it's basically I think that it's basically PlayStation trying to create a quote safe space for gamers, which makes me like, I don't know if you could hear me roll my eyes when I made that comment, but it's one of those things that, the internet used to be kind of the Wild West, and now it's somewhat being tamed, or aspects or places on the internet are being tamed. And I think that's basically what's just happening here. I mean, that's why I still love Reddit for the most part. It still is kind of the Wild West. You can say whatever the hell you want to a degree. Especially, I mean, which they are cracking down on the different communities and stuff that are being labeled as whatever, white nationalists or whatever, some kind of racist something. But yeah, man, I think that it makes me roll my eyes. I understand why they're doing it, because obviously I'd say that there's more people that are on board for it than aren't. Or honestly, I would say there's just a lot of people that are completely fucking apathetic to it. But I don't know. I know people, there are a lot of people out there that did want to change their PlayStation Network ID, because there was I can't remember what podcast it was on, but they had a segment in the pod at the end of the podcast that they had a segment that they would like have users submitted like either IDs that people saw, or that it was their own ID, that it was just like, for God's
Yeah.
sakes, PlayStation, please let me change my ID. I don't want to be, whatever, Bowser Fart 69 anymore. So, but yeah, a lot
Hey,
of
we all make
69s.
mistakes when we're younger, man.
Well, that's the thing, dude. We all create. It's like having your AOL screen name be the same thing, and you're like, "Fuck, man! I was not thinking when I said, now I'm like 22 years old, and I don't care about the fucking wild thornberries anymore." But anyway, so PlayStation's giving you an out at this point, but
just don't make it offensive.
Yeah, just don't make it offensive unless you want to get tagged with a really shitty temp ID.
Yeah. Remember, the first one's free, but the next one's $10.
There you go, man. So so spend wisely. But all right, guys. Well, listeners, thank you for tuning in. This has been the Tether Radio Podcast, episode 44. I'm going to go ahead and do our little social stuff. If you want to give us any feedback, if you want to give us suggestions, if you want to tell us a fun little story or whatever, we are all, I would say ears, but you're probably going to be writing an email, so we'll be all eyes, ? Anyway, reach out to us. It is tetherradio@gmail.com. That is TETHERRADIO@gmail.com. If you want to hit us up on the Twitter sphere, we are at tether_radio. Instagram, same thing, man. tether_radio. We're on Mark Zuckerberg's Facebook at Tether Radio, one word. Yeah, man, this has been good, and thank you guys for joining, both Miri and Matt. You guys,
thanks for having me.
For sure, man. I appreciate you helping fill in for Joey B while he's been doing some stuffs. And Miri, also thank you.
Yeah, it was a nice little break from the Finster.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so this has been Tether Radio Podcast, episode 44. Thank you, listeners, and come back and join us next week. My name's Daniel, and I am signing off. Have a great week, guys, and we'll talk next week.